Hello everyone. In this video, we will be seeing how to create a EC2 instance on the AWS as well as install the Minikube and the Kubernetes cluster on that EC2 instance. So firstly, we have to create a Minikube on the EC2 instance. For that, there are certain requirements. These are the four requirements, which means we need a server with 2 CPUs or more, and also it needs 20 GB of RAM with the internet connection, and also Docker installed on it. So we will be creating the server based upon this requirement. So firstly, let's come to this AWS console. Initially, we can sign up in the AWS. It will just ask for 2 rupees. You can subscribe to that, and once you have done that and verified, you will be able to create the instances. Firstly, let's create a EC2 instance. EC2 is just a virtual server. You can just follow the pay as you go policy here. So firstly, let's go to instance. And then you just press on launch instance. We can name this something like Kubernetes. Okay. And let's go for the Ubuntu version. This can be default. And on the instance type, you should not go for a micro since it has only one CPU. So this will not work for the Kubernetes. So you can go to the macro version of it. Like this has 2 CPU and 4 GB memory. So it just need 2 GB memory, but let's go for a 4 GB memory. And also you can for now click on not recommended this keypad. And then I will be talking about the security group shortly. And the volume should be, it requires at least 20 GB space. So let's give it something like 25. So up to 30 GB it's free. And let's launch the instance. Okay, now the instance is launched. Now you can come to the instance. This thing will be launched shortly. It's in the pending state. Once it's launched, it will be turned to the running state. So, okay. Firstly, let's come to this Minikube documentation and see how to install the Minikube. And since we have created a Linux operating system on that EC2 instance, go for a Linux. And let's go for a stable release. And these are the commands we need to execute. And also we need to install the Docker on it. So this is the official page of the Docker. We will be following this official documentation to install the Docker. In the meantime, let's create a security group. What a security group does is, so if someone has to access our application from the internet, so we have to enable the inbound rules on the security group. So you just have to click here so that anybody can access the application. You can also restricts certain person to not access our application by adding the IP address over here. For now, let's allow us all traffic. And this 0000, what it does is it will just enable all the IP address to access our EC2 instance. We have added this rule and we have to save this rule. Since it's a learning purpose, we can just enable all traffic for here, although it's not a good practice. Let's see whether, yeah, it has turned to the running state, right? Let's come to this instance. And if someone has to access our application, this is the IP address, public IP address, and this private IP address is for logging to a EC2 instance via the SSH method like that. But I will not be using the SSH method here. We will be just using the connect feature, which is provided by the AWS dashboard itself. Let's connect through it. Okay. For working on this server, you need to learn certain Linux command. Firstly, this will be useful for listing the files inside of the directory, and pw will be useful for looking in which directory you are. Like we are in the home and Ubuntu. Okay, firstly we need to install the Minikube, right? So we will be executing this command. And before starting the Minikube here, we need to install the Docker engine. So we will be executing this command. Let's copy this. Got executed previous command. Let's paste this. Let's give, yeah, I want to continue. So these are the basic requirements, and it's clear. And check whether Minikube is installed. But let's check whether Docker is installed. Yeah, Docker got installed successfully. And also we need to set this driver to the Docker. So let's set this like, so this Minikube requires something driver to run, which can either be a Podman or the Docker. Since we have installed the Docker, we can set this driver to Docker driver. Let's give Minikube start. This is failing. It says that it's failing because Docker is not healthy. We have to it's unable to pick the default driver. So we can execute this command. Since it's running everything, we have to copy this, copy and paste. Just have to delete this and then okay, let me copy from here. This is the same command. Okay, now let's do Minikube start. Now it has started. Just wait, it will be started in a minute. So this, what this Minikube does is it will just create a Kubernetes cluster. You see that it's creating a Docker container. So whenever you are killing this instance and again starting this instance, you need to perform this Minikube start command again to enable this engine to run. So keep that in mind. Let me pause for a while. After it's installed, I will continue. Yeah, it got installed. Now you can check Minikube status. You can see that it's running. The Minikube status is running right now. Okay, so this is how you can install the Kubernetes using Minikube in the AWS EC2 instance.